Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us again today for another CTC software webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Sheet Generator and some of the advantages it has over native tools, and it's really just going to be an introduction for our roads module. And the reason why I say our roads module is because in the next couple of weeks here, we're going to also have a grid layout. We're calling it a site layout kind of form, so we won't need alignments for that. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC Software. And this webinar will be recorded that you can view later on our YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe to see those, get updates, go to CTC Software, and they'll show you how to do it. And as always, we thank you for joining us today. So with that, let's get started. So Sheet Generator, it's part of our Sim project suite of tools, and we are currently at version 25.1. It's intended for the everyday Civil 3D user, creating design and production drawings, and it will work in the last 4 versions of Civil 3D, dating back to version 2021. So what can I do for you? Sheet Generator will help to streamline your road design projects. We have some powerful features in there. And with initial setup and best practices, you'll get the most out of this essential tool, which will enable you to automate your sheet creation with ease to save time and enhance productivity. Perfect for the civil engineer and designers looking to streamline their road design production capabilities. So today we're going to talk about how we can optimize those processes. And we're going to go through some of the setup, the usage is, and the best practices for the tool. And with that, you'll learn some efficient techniques to create your sheets for road design. And with that, it will help to enhance the productivity and streamline your workflows. So as you can see on the ribbon there, it's on the right side. It's created with a workflow in mind from left to right. But what are some of the native Civil 3D plan of production pitfalls? So Civil 3D view frames, they will create, but they won't update. So with that, then you'll need to recreate or manually edit your sheets when things change. And then the view frames and the match lines are somewhat inflexible in that way, and there are really limited profile view controls with that. So Sheet Generator advantages. Well, it's more versatile. So when we make changes, if we already have our sheets created, we can use the update layouts you see on the far right of our ribbon tool up there. And then just to rerun them is a very easy process as well. And then our model space view shapes are linked to our sheets. And it's really pretty easy to set up, and it works with all your current standards and uses block definitions to get the job done. So it will create plan and profile, plan and plan only, profile only, whatever you would like to do. And then we have a way of avoiding critical data when cutting our sheets. So we won't have a match line that goes through something you wouldn't want it to go through, such as a manhole or a catch basin or perhaps a hydrant, things of that nature. And then we can add and adjust those automatically in plan and or profile. And we have more profile view, station, and elevation control over the native tools. I should have mentioned too, as we go along here, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the question pane, and we'll get to those as we move along. Come on, next slide. There we go. So what else? We have a better network profile view projection. And as I said, we have a new release coming up soon. And with that, we will also be including pressure pipes. So then our layout tabs and our sheet sets get generated automatically. And as with all of our tools, we have no proprietary objects. So you have no fear of sharing those and losing data with clients or other users. So with that, let's get into a live demo and we'll kind of walk through this thing. If I could push the right button. Okay. I think you're seeing this now. Okay, so a typical setup here that we have. We want to show you some of the best practices for this, some of the things that are required for this. Hang on a second while I get this up over here. So we have a few requirements, some things that we need. So first of all, we'll go through our best practices. And I'm finding out that a lot of our clients and have discovered some of the better ways to use this tool is to maybe keep your view shapes in one drawing, such as this here. So when things change, you can XREF those in very easily if it's already XREF'd into your other sheets, if you're using multiple sheets for grading, for demolition, or what have you. And these frames move here, which really control everything. Then we can easily update the rest of our sheets in our sheet set to show those changes across the entire plan set. So then also we have some requirements with this. So things that are required. Well, we need blocks for our plan views and our profile views if we're using those. And then we need a match line block and a north arrow, which you probably already have in your drawing. The other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have a sheet like this set up ready to go. So this happens to be a 20 scale plan and profile. You can make them to any scale that you want, whatever your anticipated plotting scale would be. So for instance, if you're doing 40 scales, you might want to have a sheet template for a better lack of term. And it doesn't need to be in this drawing right here. I just put it in here. It should be in what I'm calling the production drawing up here. So I'm just showing you this, how you want that in there. So these are those, excuse me. So these are those plan and print blocks that we saw in our model space over here. And then two, we have this masking block when you create your profile views. All this is going to do is give you a buffer on the edges of your sheets. I have that over here. I actually don't have them inserted, but they will go on the ends here to buffer those out, so you will have, they won't go all the way to the end like that. Let me flip back to this one again. And then you're going to want to have these on unique layers. So you're going to want to lay these out with different layers, how they're put in there. So your plan view shapes. And the reason I say that is because if you've got multiple alignments in here, you're going to want to put these on different layers, because if they cross, you will see that they go away. And we do have webinars on those and how to handle those types of situations. So if you want to go view our channel to see that in more detail, I'm not going to do that today. So what else do we need? So we need our unique layers, view shapes, profile views. We have all that. And then we have to have an alignment. For the road view, there must be an alignment in there for it to work properly. So this coming in the future, this whole sheet gen tab right here, set of tools, is going to look different than this. We're going to have them cascading down. So with the site view, you won't need an alignment, but when we're doing roads, you're going to need an alignment for that to grab. So let's go through the methodology. So if we create our view shapes right here, first thing we need to do is we just need to go to our plan view shapes. And like I said, this is going to work left to right and how this goes together. So for this drawing right here, all we're going to do is put the view shapes in here. So then we can XREF those in at a later date. So I've already run these, and I'm just going to go through how this gets set up. So first you need to select your alignment. So I've got some XREF'd drawings in here, as we can see, with alignments. So whatever one you want to use, and you can use those XREF alignments too, that's fine. That's not what I'm doing here today, but we can grab those, and that's what I'm saying. If you do that and do these shapes, these view shapes, or as they're known natively, view frames, we can easily adjust those, clean those up, and have them XREF'd across many other drawings. So I'm going to cancel out of that because I don't remember what my station, I think it was 52. I think it will default back to how I had it set up. Nope. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do this. So we can say start. So this is simply sensing the alignment from start to finish here. Okay, this one I only went from here to the end. So as if we were connecting to an existing road, let's say, and there's a couple ways to do that too. You can enter it manually. You can come in here and pick it from the drawing too. So if I pick this intersection, say right there, so it's 5450, I could have entered that manually as well. I'm going to let it run to the end. As a matter of fact, let me pick out of there and zoom back out so we can see the whole thing again. Take a shot right there. So enter it back in, 5450. So then the viewport scale, that's what I talked about before with your anticipated layout for that, your scaling. So by default, it's going to take your, whatever your drawing setting is down here. And then we can change that at any time as well to 30 if you change your mind, whatever. So then we have our print blocks, and where are they going to go? I'm going to tell them to center. So what that's going to do, is that's going to take that viewport and it's going to center it from end to end within our view shape block, our print block right here. So if you wanted to do it manually, for some reason you could. I think in most cases you probably will center it, but you can enter it manually here. So then I will go 10 feet from the end and fill in there. You could also, as we get to the next page here, I'll show you that you could half it if you want to. So some versatility there. That's what we mean by there's more versatility with this tool than natively. So then the other thing we need, we talked about our print area block, and we can come in here, we can pick it. So if you have it in your drawing, you can pick it like that if you lay it in there, and it doesn't affect anything being right there. Or you can select it from the drop down. So a couple different ways to do that. Then our print block layer. So if you know what it is, again, it's from the drop down, you can pick it. If you don't have one, you can create one right here. But then you will have to go back into your layer manager if you want it to be a different line type, color, what have you. So as we hit the next button here, we get to our match lines. Where do we want those to go? Let me zoom back out again so we can see this. So where do we want our match lines to go? How far between them? And this is what I talked about with that offset. If I back up here, so if we did this offset horizontal and we wanted it centered manually, if I'm going 425 and the max distance is 580, so whatever that is, what is it, 130, 35, half that, and you could enter that back here to get it centered. But this will take care of it for you if you just hit center, so no need to figure that out. So then where do we want to round our station to the nearest 25? I have in this case, you can set it to whatever. I'm going to leave it at 25. So when I rerun it, we can see what happens here. In fact, let me back up one. And let me first do this we'll go right from beginning station, so I can show you how quickly you can redo this stuff. And if I don't want it to cut through, as we talked about, any of this other data, you can see that we have many other selections here. So if we didn't want it to go through a structure, we could pick that and give it a buffer, then it would find all that, still going by this criteria and fitting all of this in there. Or if we didn't want to hit a block or points, different things in there that we've added now that you can avoid. And then the buffer for alignment vertices probably be used in most cases. We don't want to cut those through any of our PCs, PTs, anything like that. So I'm going to leave that right at 15. And then so now our view shapes. What are our view shapes? They're these lines right here. These cyan lines, that's our view shape. And where do we want them to be clipped at? We can say we don't want them clipped at all, which will let them run to the outer edges there. So if I tell it at print block area, it's going to go the whole way, and we'll see that here in just a second. And then we need our view shape layers. Again, same thing. You can pick it, you can create it, or you can get it from the pull down. And then we have our drafting guides right here. We're calling these drafting guides, and what they are is they're these yellow lines right here. And what they do is they aren't used for anything. They show you where your match line is going to be, basically. And if you need to make any adjustments, you can move those matching lines and then snap perp to them. They just help with if you wanted to change the layout of this in any way manually after you've placed them before you create your layouts. So this is the time to do all of that. Like this one right here is cutting a little closer. I might want to move that over. And these drafting guides will help you do that. So I'm going to insert those, and I have a special layer for those two that I want them on. So I'm going to hit finish. So you can see it laid them in there. You can see before they were cutting at these yellow lines. I'm going to take those out because they don't come into play now. So you can see they're going the full length of our sheet. But you probably do want some overlap in there in most cases, and that's what that does. So I can just come back in here and fix it back, put it back to the way I had it. So I'm going to change this again to what we had before, 5450. Let it run to the end. I'm going to tell it to center. I'm going to leave everything else as is. But I'm going to tell it this time to clip at my match lines. Right there, I'm going to hit finish. And it hung on to this one out here because it didn't fall in there. So we can just simply delete that out. Has no effect on anything else. So we have this last block layer right here, and you could make adjustments as you go along as well. So once we've got that and we save that, we can XREF it in. And I guess I didn't have to hit save because I do have it in here, and it lines up the same. Then I left these blocks in here too. You wouldn't need those if you're doing a planned production set. But this is the key for creating your layouts, is to have your blocks set to the scale that you want them in for that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create our profile views, and I've already done that, so I'm not going to go through that in the interest of time right here. But all it does is it calls upon the exact same native tool that you'll find in your output tab up here to create the views. And you just go ahead and do it the same way, with the exception of not selecting any profile or any pipe networks. And the reason we do that, as I will show you here in a second, is that it will go much quicker and we can get things set up to look the way we want them without doing that. And we can pick and choose which ones we want to put in there, how much of it we want to put in there when we do our networks to views. So if I created these already and I did my networks to views, which I've done here, I'll go through that real quick. Another one of our requirements for using our tool is first you want to select your profiles that you want to put them on. Then you see down here our buffer. So it's going to look from the center line or our alignment line 50 feet in either direction and find any network that's in there. In the next couple of releases, we're going to give you more versatility with that, in that we'll be able to pick out pressure networks for one. If we just want to do storm or sanitary, we will have that ability. I don't have that in the beta here today. I do have one other thing in this beta though. So if that's something you're looking for, stay tuned and we will have more webinars on that coming up. So once I did that and I set my distance at 50, it's going to load them in there. I know you didn't see it happen, but that's what it did. So after we get those in there, the next step is we just come right down the line to adjust our profiles. Let me take these off real quick because I'm gonna run through that. I know these aren't right. Let me just get these out of there. We'll get them in a second. Okay, so moving on. Profiles. So we did our network, so now we want to adjust our profiles. So the settings in this window are here. So we want to match our plan view stations. So we want them to fall here as they do here. And then we need a layer for it, a plan view shape. And then some of our other settings are buffers, our station buffers, 25. Let's try 10 at end. Then adjust the profile view heights. So we have more control over how these look. So round to major elevation ticks, and then center our objects. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this one off for right now. And then center them. And what do we want to center it on? We want to center it on our profile, surface profile, our pipe networks in this case, our layout profiles. You can see we've added this pressure networks also to this to center. Again, not part of this beta. I am running a beta, by the way, so bear with me as things aren't working exactly as they do with the real tool. But then our profile view height, so we would know that from the height that we generally get at our 20 scale in our layout tab. So in this case, I've got it set to 60. And once you get these set up and you do these over and over again, repetition, these settings will hold and you can come back to them. So then where do we want it to go? From the highest, the median, the lowest? So in most cases, probably the median. And then I say, okay. And this will take a little bit of time, or a couple of times probably, for you to get how get these how you want them to look. So now we're ready to create our profile view shapes. That's what these are here that I tried to get rid of. Let me try that again. I don't know why I can't get at my... Okay, well, I think it will overwrite those. We'll find out. Because I did this not with the beta the first time, and then I did it with the beta, so bear with me. It should get those out of there. Pick those profiles. And we don't actually even need to pick those ahead of time. So I can come in here and pick them too. So if I just click the tool, I could have came back in here and did that. But so right here, it shows you how many we have. And that should match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, it matches our layout because we told it to align to those plan layouts right there. So if we want to put our match lines in there, align with our plan match lines, then we pick our alignment again with the same process with our plan print area block. And then we can give it a distance if we wanted it to, from the profile view start to align. If you wanted to enter that manually in some way, you could. And a couple more. You see if I tell it to center there, I lose this ability to do this manually. And then these offsets too. So this will be another setting that you'll get to know pretty regularly, what fits with your view heights. I'm going to leave it at 20 because I did run it earlier. And some more settings, the same stuff we need again. We need to have match our view shape layer and our print area block layer. So that's this layer, and then it's going to put it on that layer. And then profile print area block. Again, we can pick it. That's this one over here, right there. Or again, from the drop down, which I've done here. And then match our viewport scale. And it's a current model scale, so we see what that is, so we know that's probably what we want. And then that masking block, that's this thing here that's going to go on the ends. I'm going to turn that off. All that really is for is to make your profile views in your tabs look better. So there, created everything. I didn't have that, and we can do that again. So it did erase those other ones off of there and updated. So let me do that one more time. I'll show you this. I didn't select any, but I can come back in here and do the same process. If there was some I liked and some I didn't like, if I was just going to do a couple of them, like these here are not quite right, then I could do that there. So as I do that, and if I tell it to center it, we should get a better result at the end. So now that these look much better, how we would want them to look. Kind of stretched it here a little bit. Again, some of the adjustments you'd make if you knew what length you would get into your profiles. Maybe when I created my profiles, I made those longer than my view shapes. But that's the process to go through. And then what we really wanted to get to again today was the create layouts portion of this. And this is the last step for this. And so one of the other requirements we need with this, you need to have, if you're going to use sheet sets, you need to have your sheet set ready to go, which I should have showed you. So you need to have a sheet set. So I've got my sheet set manager open here. So I've got a sheet set ready to go. And again, this is a beta. And I haven't gone through this yet. I'm scrambling a little bit to get the beta loaded up before the webinar. Because this, again, this will be coming out in a couple weeks. And I want to show you one of the options that's going to be here with it. So again, you want to set it to whatever you have set up for your layout tab down here. So plan and profile, that's why it's labeled that for plan and profile. If it was a plan and plan, I would have another tab that had just the plan blocks, profiles, so on. So then again, we have to find our source objects. So our alignment is the same. And then our view shape layers, they need to match what we set in there before. So if you didn't remember what it was, you could just go pick them over here. Again, if this came out blank. So as I go to next, this is which layouts it's going to create. If I wanted to drop one of those, say I didn't need it to go to the end there, I just simply deselect that one. Then I'll go to the next tab here. And this is some of the things to be inserted. So I want to add a north arrow. So that's another thing we talked about earlier, to have in your drawing your north arrow block, the one you typically use. And then our match lines. Do we want to put a match line in there? Yes. Again, have a match line block, whatever you use. I don't think I have any other one than that, which is just this line one. And you can use your flip bubbles, whatever you want. And then this has attributes built into there to recognize the station. This match line block does here. I'll show you that in just a second. So you can see that. And then, so I want it to be the next station. Don't really care about any of these, but if you had that built into your block, you could clip those. And then there's a flip state also built into there, which will put the text on the correct side of the line. And then where do I want them? Beginning, ending. And then what layer should they go on? I don't even think I have a match line layer in here. I don't. So here I can create one. I'll just make Oh, wait, there it is right there. Okay. So then we're going to insert them on the profiles as well. And then from the plan view shapes, so we wanted the vertical placement on center. I think we're not seeing this correctly, some of this text here. But anyway, so I wanted the existing ground and the network, the pipe network, which is that one right there. So next, and then here's the important part of why we have this right here. We need to have this layout to duplicate. So it's going to duplicate this layout, how we've got it set up in there right now. And then how many layers or layouts per the drawing? I think there was 8, so 10 should be fine. Not sure even what the max is for that. And then how do we want that named? The layout template name. So that pulls up a familiar Civil 3D native looking drop down here we can do. So I can name this whatever I want. I'm just going to leave it as it is, kind of a long name. In fact, I'm not. I'm just going to give it the layout number. Let's give it a layout number. So that's all we really need there. I'm going to say OK. Right there. And then our layout storage. So here's what I was talking about before. So if you don't want to use sheet sets, if you have a smaller project like this, and maybe for some of you out there, you're not really using sheet sets, you don't need them, you're doing smaller projects, we can create those right in the drawing right here. And to be honest, I haven't done it yet, so this is the beta. I hope it will work. But if we did want to use the sheet set, we'd come here. Again, we get that same naming template. And then I just simply come here to go get wherever I put that sheet set, the one that's ready to go here. And we do have other videos on how to do that. I just really wanted to highlight this today to show you that now, because it's been a huge request really, that we can do this right in the drawing. So it's not going to make an extra drawing out there. In fact, to make sure, because it will take a couple of minutes, I'm going to deselect some of these. We'll just do the middle of the project. So just do, how many did I do there? Oh, see the beta not quite working. That should, remember that. I'll just do these middle 3 right here. Make it 4. Let's do those middle 4. And to create those in the drawing, current drawing, and then I hit my finish. So if you weren't XREFing in, if you were doing it all in one drawing, you can see it's making those right in the background, right in this sheet right here. And I created our plan and profile sheets with our match lines right in the middle. I didn't have my north arrow in this layout tab apparently, so it didn't come in. But that's what it does. That's the beauty of it. And then if we make some adjustments, we change anything, storms change, we don't need to now go back and recreate everything. That's where we come to our update layouts. So some pretty powerful stuff there, and a brief introduction to it, or comprehensive introduction, more than brief, to see how this works. If you want to see any of our other videos on any of that, you can go to our YouTube website to see how that works. So let me flip back to the PowerPoint here. That's all I wanted to show today. Like I said, mainly highlighting on that create in drawings. So in summary, what does it do? It sets up sheets and it creates sheets and sheet sets. It will save time by being able to add those match lines and edit those on the fly, so to speak, if things change, and then we can update or we can avoid our critical data. So we don't have to run them and then see that it went through a manhole, or if the storm or sanitary changes and now they've gotten in the way, we can just simply go back and update them and it will take care of that. That can be used for plan and profile, plan only, or profile only, however you want to do that. So again, it's part of the CTC SIM project suite of tools. We're currently at version 25.1 with 25.2 due out very soon. And then we also have our manager suite, which is more geared for CAD managers or those supporting a CAD staff, design staff that's in charge of all your templates and standards. So if you don't have it, you'd like to get it, you can contact your local reseller or contact us here at ctcsoftware.com. And as always, if you have any ideas or need help with anything, please contact our support or your local reseller, and we will do our best to help you out in that regard. So with that, thank you for joining us today.